Now, to get a better understanding with that story, we're joined by Paul Mango with the Washington Peace Center. Mr. Mango, thank you for joining us on World News. Why is it that even the U.S.'s credit rating being dropped right now? Secretary of Defense Leon Panetta still uses al-Qaeda as a scare tactic to prevent President Obama from cutting $400 billion in the next decade for military spending.
Well, that's an extremely good question. One of the main reasons we have economic problems in our society is that we have sunk hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars into war on several fronts. Iraq, Afghanistan. We've got military action going against Libya. We have military operations that's going on in places like Pakistan and Yemen, and who knows where else. So, our society is paying a price for we're mortgaging our possibilities to these military adventures, and it's coming home. It's coming to hurt us. So I don't, know why they think there's wisdom in continuing to do that, and in Admiral Mullen's language, to set the groundwork for doing that on a more intense level over the long term. Rather than packing up and getting out of the way of folks in South Asia who can certainly put their heads together and work on their regional security issues, but they don't need us at the table in order to talk to each other and fashion a common security approach.
Well, Mr. Magno, would you be able to explain to me why Admiral Mike Mullen is so interested militarily in South Asia?
Well, I think part of it is is a continuation of what the practice has been for the last decade. Since the aftermath of 9/11, we've had troops on the ground in Afghanistan and in Iraq, and as I've said, and the military wants to continue to do that. And it's hard to tell sometimes how much the motivation is simply perpetuating our own dominion of the region, or attempted dominion of the region, and how much of it's actually rooted in economic interests rather than political interests. They both drive U.S. militarism forward, and that is the problem.
Well, Mr. Magno, why doesn't U.S. right now, in your opinion, remove their troops from Afghanistan, Iraq, and Pakistan so that they're private? Is it because of the revenue for their security firms of Blackwater and Dynacorp, in your opinion?
Well, I'm not sure if it's the private security auxiliaries in particular. Certainly, there are a lot of privateers like that, and a lot of military contractors who have a lot of profits at stake in perpetuating permanent warfare in the region. And so that ends up being part of the problem, and the willingness of our political personalities, the new Secretary of Defense, the President, to capitulate to that keeps the problem going forward when, we need to figure out how to, we haven't accomplished this very much in the region in a decade's time, and we ought to get out of there and save our money and save what's left of our dignity, I suppose. And
well, Mr.
that's
Magno,
what the American people want.
Briefly,
they don't understand why we're wasting treasure on it.
Don't mean to cut you off because we are running out of time. Just briefly, this is in similarity to that question. Z Group, United States does not have a military base in Afghanistan, but Z Group seems to have one there. What can you explain that to me?
Well, they seem to have, Z Group used to be known as Blackwater. They changed their stripes, and they seem to keep going forward, and they seem to have one life after another, despite the scandals and embarrassments and corruption that they've been involved in. I'm not entirely sure how it is that they continue to maintain their lease on life as a military entity projecting itself into the region. But they do seem to have their hand in the public's pocket on an ongoing basis, and I don't know why they don't just get shut down and some of their leadership sent to jail, considering some of the things they've been demonstrated to be responsible for.
Well, Mr. Magno, thank you for taking time to join us right here on World News. Paul Magno with the Washington Peace Center discussing the U.S. militarism and the continuance of U.S. military bases in Afghanistan, Pakistan, and countries in South Asia.